Hey everyone, today we're going to dive into something really powerful, a way to solve conflicts that doesn't involve a stuffy courtroom. We're talking about the process of mediation, so let's get right into it.
Okay, let's start with a scenario. Imagine you're in a serious dispute. Emotions are running high, and all you can see ahead is this long, expensive, and honestly, kind of scary court battle. You've got to wonder, is there another way? A better way?
Well, yes, there absolutely is. The answer is mediation. So what is it? It's basically a guided conversation. You have a neutral professional, the mediator, who doesn't pick a winner. Nope, their job is to help you and the other side find your own solution together. It's all about collaboration, not a big confrontation. Now, this whole thing works because it's built on three really important principles. First, it's voluntary. That means you're there because you choose to be, and you can leave at any time. Second, it's confidential. What's said in the room stays in the room, period. And finally, it's super flexible. It can bend and adapt to whatever your specific situation is. These aren't just rules. They're what makes the whole process trustworthy. So, what does this actually look like in practice? How does it all unfold? Well, it's not just one big, messy conversation. Mediation is actually a pretty structured journey, and it happens in 5 clear stages. Let's walk through them step by step. Think of this as the roadmap. This is the path we're going to follow. It all starts with preparation, then we move into the formal opening. After that, we dive deep in the exploration phase, start building solutions during negotiation, and hopefully, we land at a final agreement. It's a really logical flow from A to Z. All right, let's kick it off with stage 1, preparation. Now, you might think the magic starts when everyone sits down at the table, right? Actually, some of the most important work happens way before anyone even walks into the room. This is where you lay all the groundwork. You pick the right mediator, you figure out the logistics. The lawyers will send over these summaries, position statements, so the mediator can get up to speed. And here's a key part. The mediator will have separate, private calls with each side beforehand. This isn't just about scheduling. It's that very first step in building trust and really getting the lay of the land. Okay, with all that prep work in the bag, we move on to stage 2, the opening. This is the official start of the day. It's the moment everyone comes together, and it's usually the most formal part of the entire process. So the mediator gets things going. They'll welcome everyone and explain how the day is going to work. Then, each side gets to make an opening statement. And this is so important. The best mediations are when the people at the heart of the dispute speak for themselves, not just their lawyers. For a lot of people, this is the first chance they have to tell their side of the story and actually be heard without anyone jumping in. Once everyone's had their say, we enter stage 3, exploration. You see, the legal arguments and the demands, that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is the part of the day where a good mediator helps everyone go deep to see what's really driving the conflict underneath the surface. This whole stage is about finding out the why behind the what. The mediator asks these really open-ended questions to get the conversation to shift, away from this clenched fist of demands and more towards an open hand of what people actually need and what their interests are. This is where you find the real raw materials to build a solution. Okay, so once there's a much deeper understanding of what's really going on, the whole energy shifts. We stop looking backward at the problem and start looking forward to the solution. And that brings us to stage 4, negotiation. And no, this isn't about tense haggling. It's actually a really creative process. The mediator usually guides this in a few parts. First is just option generation. It's pure brainstorming. Throw every possible idea on the table, no matter how wild it seems. Then comes reality testing. We look at those ideas and ask, okay, could this actually work? Finally, you take the best, most practical ideas and start bundling them into real settlement packages that people can consider. Now, for all this to work, the exploration, the negotiation, the mediator has to be a master at managing the conversation. So let's quickly pull back the curtain and look at the 2 main ways they structure all this talk. So a mediator basically has 2 modes they can switch between. You've got joint meetings where everybody's in the room together, and then you have separate meetings, which are also called a caucus. That's when the mediator meets privately with just one side. A good mediator knows exactly when to switch from one to the other. And the caucus is incredibly powerful. Why? Because it's a totally safe, confidential space. You can be really honest with the mediator about your fears. You can test out a few what-if scenarios, and you can talk about your bottom line without showing all your cards to the other side. Honestly, it's often where the real breakthroughs happen. So,
After all that digging deep and all that creative negotiation, once everyone finds that common ground, we finally reach the destination of our journey, stage 5, crafting the agreement.
And this isn't just a friendly handshake. No way. The lawyers get to work drafting a formal, written, mediated settlement agreement. It spells out every single detail. And let's be clear, this document is a legally binding contract. It can even be turned into a court order, which means it has the full power of the law behind it. It's all about providing that finality. But, let's be realistic. What happens if after a long day you just can't get there? What if you can't reach a deal? It happens, and the process is built to handle that detour. Right, so even if you don't walk out with a signed agreement, the day is almost never a failure. Think about it. You've learned so much more about the other side's case. You've probably narrowed down the issues. And remember, everything you talked about is still confidential. You're free to keep talking later or head to court. But now you're going in with your eyes wide open. Before we wrap this up, there's one last thing you have to know. It's basically the golden rule of mediation. It's so important. It means you can float ideas, you can make offers, you can explore possibilities, and you're not locked into any of it. Nothing is a done deal until everything is agreed on, written down, and signed by everybody. It's the ultimate safety net for the entire process. So there you have it. Mediation is this structured, human-centered way to navigate conflict. It's a powerful reminder that while disagreements are just a part of life, ugly court battles don't have to be. And it kind of leaves you with this big question, doesn't it? If we know that focusing on people's interests instead of just their positions is the key to finding solutions, how can we use that idea, not just in a formal mediation, but in the conflicts we all face every single day?